Thank you so much for being here today. We're diving into the topic of surrender and control, and how one of them creates a life that is filled with magic, power, and synchronicities, and the other one creates a life that can be filled with fear, worry, tension, harshness, judgments. There's a big difference between surrender and control, and my question to you is, are you taking the fun out of your own life because you're trying to be in control too much? I am speaking of this topic because I have been a control freak, wanting to control outcomes, wanting to get it to go my way, that I needed to go so that I can be okay. So in itself already, this I that needs to be okay from the outcomes of the world, that's already setting myself up to be basically fucked, but not in a pleasurable, loving, consensual way, but in a shitty way. The benefits of choosing to soften, loosen the grip, and surrender are infinite, actually. They're infinite, because that is the beginning of a journey, of a life that is unpredictable, mysterious, unknown, and exciting and fun and exhilarating, but in a more loving, nurturing way versus the other one. Control is going to bring about more intenser, arousing emotions as well. Yet there are emotions that can actually, if practiced for a prolonged period, create imbalances and distortions in the body and in the brain. It actually can make the brain less functional, if you know what I mean. If you notice that you've been in a place of controlling, wanting to control, the first step is to, or if you notice you're in that right now actually, the first step is to start a practice of daily letting go of control. And what is a good practice for that? Well, unfortunately, guys, it always comes back to some sort of stillness practice, meditation, some sort of practice where we sit still and observe the insanity of the mind, how much it wants to get up and move or get up and do something, or thinks it knows what to do, thinks that it's right, or thinks that what it is thinking is even important and relevant, but it's actually not important and relevant. One of the practices that I do a lot is I lay on this beautiful bed right here. I lay down like this, or it's usually I have my feet like this. And I feel myself sinking into the bed. And I scan this body. I scan the body, looking for any place where I might be tensing, holding. And then I take a look at where and if I am resisting something in this moment. I'm going to be honest, often I have been, in the past, been resisting something. And resistance is implying that for some reason, I do not want this thing to fully come into my life because I'm a control freak and I'm scared of what would happen if I welcome that feeling in. Like usually for me, I'm resisting a feeling or opening up to something within myself. And that implies, resistance implies that I think that I'm the one in control. And just that in itself, thinking we are the one that is in control is a trap in itself, a big trap of the ego. And I know that a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of coaches and things will say, you know, you're in control. And we are in control in some sense, in the way that how we are, how we live, how we be, how we kind of respond, we can sort of control. But at the same time, to get too caught up in that, thinking that I'm really the one in control is kind of ridiculous, because there's bigger things at play here. There's universal forces that we cannot even see with our human limited eyesight. So there's a lot bigger at play. There's destiny. There's, things that have been written already and that are just done, Anyways, so noticing what you're resisting, noticing. And then in the moment of noticing it while you're laying down in complete stillness, or you could sit up too, obviously. And this is just like meditation. But I like laying down because when I lay down, I feel like I go into surrender more because I'm actually so relaxed. And I lay down and I feel myself releasing all resistance. Really what I mean by that is letting myself open to the moment. And the moment that I open to the moment starts loving me, starts kind of making love to me. And I feel a light, a sparkling light, embracing me, glowing all around me. And this is surrender. It's that no matter what is going on in our lives right now, no matter how much my ego might say I have a reason to be anxious, to be angry, to be fearful, I'm going to choose to do this practice and remember what's really important. And it's not to get caught up by the ego's torment and torture, because that's not who I am. That's not serving anything. So I choose to, instead of thinking like when things are going wrong in life sometimes, or not wrong, but when things are challenging, it seems like there's this ego that wants to, pick up all the weapons and just be always ready on fight. Like, I'm ready to destroy it if it comes my way. I'm going to control that nothing happens to me ever. Meanwhile, we're just standing in our own misery forever when we do that. Nothing good ever happens from that. But the ego seems to think that if I just hold my weapons and fight and hit at anything that seems to be a threat, I will somehow be happy. It is a really weird way to go about anything. But, so if I just lay down on the bed, or in general, if I'm not able to lay down on the bed, if I just stop and pause for a moment and feel myself, I can see that often there is something that I'm resisting. And in the moment of noticing the resistance, that could be enough. Just noticing that I'm resisting something and being with the resistance. Observing that I'm resisting even could be a thing. Observing that I'm resisting resistance could be a thing. And that's okay. And just being with that is where it's at. And then seeing that I don't need to fight with that. I don't need to fight with anything that I'm feeling. And surrender to what is. This, my friends, brings about magic, synchronicity, things falling into place that you wanted to fall into place for a long time. Everything going effortlessly. You need to feel and remember how loved you are and how supported you are and how, I don't like to use the words deserving and worthy, but and how deserving you are of feeling this good, of surrender. Like, you are safe to surrender. And I know that surrender can sound kind of weak maybe and scary, but what we're surrendering to is not just to be victims of the world. We're surrendering to being held by God and the divine and life itself. We're surrendering to the current of life and trusting it to take us to great places. Trusting that I get to have a say in how I choose to respond to everything that happens, but trusting that when I'm not fighting with reality, trying to control it, I am no longer in the harsh energy, the fearful energy, because control usually comes from a place of fear or lack. I do not trust that I have everything I need, so I need to control. I do not trust that I will have enough later on in the life, so I need to control a lot now. And when we're controlling, we're usually in a place of fear, judgment, and anger. So if you're in any of that, just know that you're probably trying to control outcomes because you have some sort of story that outcomes is what brings you happiness, safety, and security. And that, my friends, is the biggest booty trap ever of the ego, and it's the greatest setup for misery, suffering, and torture. Do you want to do that to yourself? Or would you like to just completely change and live a life that is more peaceful? Because there's two options here, and your choice. Not anybody else is doing this to us. It's we who do it to ourselves. We cannot point the fingers at anybody else. It's us. We are responsible for our well-being. So thank you so much for being here today, and give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below of what you think of this topic and what's your perspective on the whole thing. Thank you. Where are you at with yourself in all of it? All right. Peace, guys. I love you. Take care. Thank you so much for being here.